Hello and happy Tuesday, which is of course my book reviews day. And today I would like to talk to you about Sundial by Catriona Ward. This novel came out in 2022, but I'm late to the party and just giving it a read. And wow, what a haunting tale. It is technically a psychological horror novel, but the horror is very subdued. It's not in-your-face supernatural horror or gross-out horror. This is more Gothic horror. It's the horror of what is real. If you think your family's messed up, then you have nothing on the family at the center of Sundial here. It's like a modern Gothic novel. It's horror in the same way that We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson is, which is actually a great comparison in my opinion, if you have the same familial dynamic within Sundial. So Sundial follows a mother, Rob, mother of two children, her children being Callie and Annie. And let's just say that Callie is beginning to show some disturbing tendencies. She's collecting some small animal bones. She's talking to imaginary friends. Imaginary friends are all right, but these imaginary friends seem a little ghoulish. They're a little ghostish. And Rob, she decides that she needs to take Callie deep into the Mojave Desert to the titular Sundial, which is her family home, which is where Rob is from. And through this entire journey, you are getting a glimpse and getting chapters into Rob's past and her own family, her upbringing with her and her sister Jack. And as her and her family are living on this ranch/research center. And yeah, the more pieces of the puzzle you get, the more of a disturbing image it is. Like I said, this isn't necessarily like an in-your-face horror novel. It's very subdued, but it is haunting, and it will stick with you. Holy crap. It's almost a dynamic that reminded me of Ania Ahlborn, something like Ania Ahlborn wrote Brother, which is very, not similar to Sundial, but it deals with, learning about a family's past and the main character's upbringing. And as you get more answers to questions, you find yourself increasingly disturbed. I would say Brother is more horror. It's more violent than Sundial is here. Sundial isn't a particularly violent novel. There are moments of violence, in particular dealing with animals. Not that it's animal cruelty per se, but as I mentioned, Sundial is a research center, and they are doing tests on dogs, which can be disturbing in and of itself. But as I said, this is the horror of the real. That research that is being done on the dogs actually is grounded in reality. There's actually research and they mention this in the book, it's based on actual research that was done back in the 50s and 60s on dogs. So yes, it's disturbing, but it's not a creation of Ward's own imagination. That is the horror of the real that is at the center of Sundial. The chapters alternate the different characters, primarily Rob and Callie. There are occasionally little chapters, arrowhead chapters, which are Rob's diary entries, as she writes about the adventures of this girls' boarding school at Arrowhead. Which I'm not going to lie, those were the chapters that kind of took me out of it a little bit. As you get more pieces to the puzzle, that is the image of Sundial, those Arrowhead chapters start to make sense. You can kind of see fragments of her real life bleeding into her own narratives, which, it's not like they're hidden there. The characters in her Arrowhead chapters are very much named after the characters in her real life. You're gonna see many familiar names, such as Callie, such as Jack with those Arrowhead chapters. I wanted to know more about Rob and Rob's past. So those Arrowhead chapters are just a strange change of pace to me. Those were the few chapters that I wasn't a huge fan of. I will say that Ward man, the last few chapters are absolutely incredible. I don't want to say it's a slow burn, but it's not necessarily the quickest adventure. I mean, there's not a lot of action within the novel. It's very much a slow burn. But as you get to this, as you get further and further in, there are going to be twists and turns that I did not see coming at all. Which has almost a Gillian Flynn vibe to it. Think Gillian Flynn's Sharp Objects, which is probably if you're a fan of Gillian Flynn's Sharp Objects, you will be a fan of Sundial. If you're a fan of what we have always lived in the castle by Shirley Jackson, you'll be a fan of Sundial. I haven't read any of Catriona Ward's other novels, but after having read Sundial, I am definitely going to have to seek them out. I'm not going to have to look far. I already have The Last House on Needless Street, which received the small press treatment from Lividian Publications. And Brian James Freeman at Lividian did mention that he is going to do more Catriona Ward, so we might even be seeing a special edition of Sundial coming down the pipeline. Who knows? Fingers crossed. I, for one, will definitely be picking it up if the opportunity arises. This particular copy is one that I received signed from VJ Books. I believe VJ Books is all sold out of Sundial. They've been having their retirement sale. It's been going on for, like 7 months now, if not a little longer. I believe they have Little Eve by Catriona Ward. Well, I know they had at least one copy. I actually just picked up a copy of that. It hasn't arrived yet, but I believe you can go on VJ Books if you wanted to buy some signed Catriona Ward. Otherwise, you can probably find it very easily online. So yeah, if you're looking for some Gothic fantasy with Gothic horror, there's not really, like I said, there's not fantasy elements in there. That's just me misspeaking. Then Sundial is the novel for you. If you're a fan of Gillian Flynn, if you're a fan of some Shirley Jackson, or Ania Ahlborn, then you should definitely check out Catriona Ward. Slightly different writing style than, say, Ania Ahlborn, but you have very similar themes throughout. And wow, what a good read. I have at least one book review a week on Tuesdays, with plenty of other unboxing videos in between here and there to keep you entertained. So please consider liking and subscribing. Like I said, this is pure speculation. If Lividian Publications does do a small press edition of Sundial, then I highly recommend subscribing to Lividian Publications newsletter, because their editions do sell out almost immediately. So you'll be wanting to pick up a copy for yourself. But thank you very much for watching. Please consider subscribing, and we will see you around next time.